Former CNN anchor Don Lemon has been warned by the Justice Department over allegations he joined a swarm of anti-ICE protesters who burst into a Minnesota church in the middle of Sunday service and accused the pastor of working with ICE. Lemon, who has been documenting the increasingly violent protests following the shooting of Renee Nicole Good, live-streamed himself alongside demonstrators with the Racial Justice Network storming into the city's church in St. Paul, Minnesota, as they called out resident pastor David Eastwood, whom they accused of moonlighting as the acting field office director for ICE in the North Star State.
That's right, Patriots. Just when you thought the left couldn't stoop any lower, they went and proved everybody wrong once again. Here we go. Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming at you with another one. The video that I'm dropping tonight, I'm pretty sure everybody has heard, has been all over the news since yesterday. A washed-up, race-baiting CNN anchor, if you want to call him that, Don Lemon, basically went and disrupted a church service with a bunch of leftist agitators, protesters, during Mass on Sunday in a church in Minnesota. And now he is crying, basically saying that he had nothing to do with it, and that's because the Department of Justice is actually looking to throw the book at him and at the people that were involved in that protest. You know, it, like I said, it doesn't surprise me that the left, you know, they think they can pretty much do and say what they want. And it's all under the guise of freedom of speech, okay? All under the guise of, you know, I'm doing what my First Amendment right gives me. They just have no class, okay? They have no scruples. They have no morals, okay? And that's why I say a lot of times that they're just godless, okay? They just have no respect, but they want you to give them all the respect, okay? Well, this time it's coming to bite them in the ass. Because instead of just leaving people alone with everything that's going on, no, they decided, a group of people, okay, and I'll try to mention which group it was, and Don Lemon decided to say, you know what, we're going to go disrupt a church service because there's basically too many white people at the church. And then to make matters worse, they're over here protesting and screaming, and there's children in the church. They're scared. All right, their parents are holding them, and they start screaming out that Renee Good's name, okay, as if she's some damn martyr. Okay, let's just get one thing straight for the record. That woman put herself in harm's way. Okay, that woman set herself up for her own death. I hate to say it that way, but it's the truth. Okay. Did she know that was going to be the outcome? No. But did she know that what she did could have had consequences? Absolutely. But in the eyes of the left and in their brains, in their feeble little brains, they think that there are no consequences. And then when they basically wind up, how can I say, for lack of a better term, when they basically get their asses handed to them, then they want to start crying and say, we need to protest some more. Okay, it's like if you want to put out the fire, you don't pour more gasoline on it. You're supposed to pour water on it. But in their eyes, pouring more gasoline is righteous. It's, you know, that's serving justice. And then when you go and you try to put out the fire with water, they'll start complaining that you can't do that because they're going to catch cold. Okay, I mean, I think it's just totally disgusting the way the left has taken the First Amendment and basically they've turned it on its ear. Okay, and this is why I always said in a lot of my videos that these people on the left, they use the Constitution to basically go against the Constitution. And once again, what did they do? They just couldn't leave peaceful people alone during their church service, that one little moment in their lives that they have, in order to basically to sit down, praise God, reflect on what's going on, maybe find answers in different ways, maybe try to find answers to what's going on, how they can help it and make things better. No, they just decided to just go like a bunch of knuckle draggers, okay, and just basically ruin people's Sunday and think that it was okay. But now that, like I said, the Department of Justice, they're going after Don Lemon, and there's a reason why they're going after Don Lemon. And believe me, it's not what people think. People say, well, the government's going against his First Amendment rights. No, 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 no. The reason why they're going after him is because there was a law that was passed out, and it's basically poetry in motion. Okay, it's poetry in motion. When I point it out to you, y'all going to probably get a good laugh out of it, but it suits the moment, and it suits a person like Don Lemon. If, I'm not going to say if, when they arrest his ass and they press charges against him. Because this man is one of the biggest race baiters on the planet, and now he's over here trying to tell people that the reason why they're going after him is because he's this big journalist. No, you're not. You're definitely not. If you was, you would have never got fired from your job, but I'll digress on that. But he's also saying the reason why they're going after him, and you guessed it, is because he's black and he's gay. Once again, pulling out the race card and pulling out the sex card. You know, you people on the left, you seriously have, never mind TDS, you seriously have a mental derangement syndrome going on in your heads. I feel sorry for you. I pity you people. I truly pity you. Because what's taking over your minds and your lives, it's not normal. It's just not. But you know what? Justice will prevail. But anyway, I'm going to play this clip so like that you guys can hear what Don Lemon has to say. And then I'm going to get into the nitty gritty of what charges they're going to throw against this man and all those people. And mind you, it's not going to be a one-off. It's going to be passed where no one is going to be allowed to pull this again, because we already know that if one person on the left does it, they're all gonna try to keep doing it. But that's gonna be put to a stop as we speak. Here we go.
This is the beginning of what's going to happen here. When you violate people's due process, when you pull people off the street, you start dragging them and hurting them and not abiding by the Constitution, when you start doing all of that, people get upset and angry.
Okay, you heard what he said. When you start, you know, not giving people due process and yada, 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 yada. I have a question for you, Don Lemon. I have a big question for you. You are worried about all these illegal immigrants being pulled off the street because they broke the law and now they're being sent back to their home. They're not being kidnapped. They're not being disappeared. And no, they're not being murdered out in the street and gathered up the way you people on the left keep saying. Okay? I mean, to tell you the truth, that they're being kidnapped, and they're being kidnapped by some of the dumbest kidnappers on the planet, because who the hell kidnaps people and then releases them back to their home country? That's not the way kidnapping works. So you assholes need to start learning. You need to open up a dictionary and find out what the hell you're talking about. Okay? And no one is disappearing on the street. It's hard to disappear, which I find very ironic by you people even using these words. You people are so damn brain dead. How can they be grabbed off the street and disappeared if they're contacting their family members and friends and you people saying that they were arrested and they're being shipped back home? Somebody that disappears, you don't hear from them. Okay? You'll never hear from them again. But leave it up to you people to come up with something like this, and leave it up to you to all of a sudden you want to start talking about due process. And my question to you, Don Lemon, is what happened to the due process of all the illegal immigrants? I'm sorry, not them. All the victims that fell to the hands of illegal immigrant criminals. All the girls that had been raped and murdered. Where was your news coverage for that? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to get a little nasty here. You probably didn't care because you're gay. Okay? You probably didn't care because they weren't black. Oh, wait a minute. Some of them were. Some of them were even Hispanic. Okay? White, Hispanic, black. Is it because you're gay that you didn't care? Is it because they didn't fit your narrative that you didn't care? Is it because they were women you didn't care? Or are you just nothing but a race-baiting agitator, and now you want to go to somebody's spiritual sanctuary and make it seem like, well, I didn't know what was going on. I was just a journalist on the ground. Were you really? Or did you show up like, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 hours ahead of time because you were stupid enough to go and freaking do a live stream on it on your YouTube channel? But you want people to think that, oh no, I just happened to be there. Really? I know this video is going to upset people. I really don't care. Okay? You people have crossed the line way one too many times. Too many damn times. And you keep doing it, and you keep doing it, and you keep doing it. What? Imagine, just imagine, if it was a bunch of protesters doing this to going into a mosque, going into a synagogue. You people on the left will lose your damn minds. And now you're going to come out and say, oh, well, you know what? This is their right. Since you want to talk about the Constitution so much, and I'll move on, people, but I just want to show something real quick. Since this journalist wants to talk about the Constitution so much, let's read up on the Constitution. Okay, the First Amendment to the United States Constitution prohibits Congress from making laws that infringe on the freedom of religion, speech, press, assembly, and petition. Okay? Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or of the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Let's just go right here where it says freedom of religion. This includes two clauses. The Establishment Clause, which prohibits the government from establishing a national religion, and the Free Exercise Clause, which protects individuals' rights to practice their religion freely. Okay? Let's go to freedom of speech. This protects the right to express ideas and information without government interference. It covers a wide range of expression, including spoken, written, and symbolic speech. Freedom of the press. This ensures that the media can publish news and opinions without government censorship, thus playing a crucial role in a democratic society. And let's get to the most important two parts that you assholes on the left seem to forget. But you think that nothing applies to you unless you turn it on your own and say, no, this is what it means for us, this is what it means for you. And that's the right to assembly, number one. This grants individuals the right to gather peacefully for demonstrations, protest, and other forms of collective expression. Not going into a church and disrupting people's prayer time. Not going after ICE agents. Not throwing rocks at people. Not beating people up. Not throwing frozen water bottles at people. Spitting on people. Beating people up. Okay? Like you people on the left have been doing. The right to petition. This allows individuals to make complaints to or seek assistance from their government without fear of punishment or reprisals. You people have turned that part on its ear through Barack Obama's regime and Biden's regime. Again, you make it seem as if you people have the right to do whatever the hell you want, but you want to go and disrupt Christians from their prayer time on a Sunday. And then you have the nerve to call yourself a Christian. Really? But yet, you scream out when you're protesting, where's your humanity? Aren't you supposed to be a Christian? Well, if you're a Christian, why did you go into a Christian establishment when people were praying and disrupt their prayer time? Because you want to make a martyr out of a woman who basically hated everyone that wasn't on her side. That's not very Christian-like. Is it, Don Lemon? Let's move on, people. It says Lemon spoke to one of the BLM protesters at the church, with her claiming that the church was harboring someone directing ICE agents. That's why it all started. Okay? Because now these people on the left think that they can just go out into the street and just start hunting people down if they're ICE agents or they support ICE. And it's happening more and more. They're actually going up to people that are in any kind of vehicle, SUV, whatever, that has tinted windows, and they're basically threatening them, asking them questions as if they have the freaking right to do that. And yet they call everybody else Nazis, and they're the ones going out there into the street like Nazis. The ICE agents are not Nazis. They're doing their job to get the criminals out of the country. You people are acting like the freaking Nazis. Okay? You're going out there and asking people as if you're supposed to do something about that. Who the hell do you people think you are? Who do you think gave you the right to go in and just harass people because of your warped demonic ideology? You truly think that you have every right in this world to pull these stunts to make it seem as if, you know what, we can do this, no one can say nothing. And then when somebody decides to, you know, I don't know, wind up kicking your asses, then you cry some more. Explain it. You can't explain it. Your brains are fried. You're being controlled by demonic forces that make you think that what you're doing is right, and you're not. And then you got people like this, Don Lemon, making it seem as if, you know what, no, I just happen to be there. Yeah, I just happen to leave my cushy apartment, my cushy multi-million dollar apartment, to go down to the freezing cold in Minnesota. I just happen to come across a protest that was going to take place. But yet, like I said, people, for sake of time, I'm not going to really edit. I'm just going to jump. Okay? This is his channel right here. He put this video out. It says, Don live on the scene. Live from Minneapolis. Okay? If you look at the time frame, this is, what's it say right here? 6 hours? It was 6 hours long? 6 hours, 47 minutes? This was a day ago. This was yesterday. I mean, he got ratioed in the comments. I mean, people just basically telling him off. Okay? Like one over here says, can you also go after the billions of fraud? Thank you, but he won't. He's in Minnesota. He'd rather go into a church where people are praying like the fucking coward that he is. Instead of going after the real criminals, nope. Let me go after people that are praying in the church because most of them are white. They got this big white church thing going on. Let me throw out the race card again because they're white. Meanwhile, this man sleeps with another white man in bed every freaking night. Okay? And this is the way he started.
Hey everybody, welcome to the program. We just got into Minneapolis a little bit ago and did some reconnaissance on the ground, speaking to an organization there that's gearing up for resistance and protest. I've been pleasantly surprised to see the community coming together. Diverse community. If you see this, when we first pulled up, we're like, wait a minute, which operation are we at? And as it turns out, because we were like, well, this is kind of MAGA coded, right? Saw the American flag or whatever, but these are...
Yeah, MAGA coded. Just because he saw the American flag, he thought this was MAGA coded. You know, this man has a sense of just, I mean, this guy's brain, all of them, Rachel Maddow, him, Joy Reid, all of them, these people are just, their brains are polluted. Their brains are demonically polluted. Okay? And it really, really pisses me off because it's like, you know what, regardless of what is going on, everyone has the right to go to their own, let's just use this word since you people on the left want to use it. Everybody has the right to their own safe space. Okay? But no. If they don't align with you, nobody deserves any peace. Okay, again, Don Lemon. Where's your news reporting for all the girls, all the women that were raped and murdered by illegal immigrants? Where was this organization protesting for them? I did a video, folks, a couple of videos ago about that. I called out a list, a very small list, but it was big enough. Okay? But no, they want to gather and they want to go bother people.
Our resistance protesters, they're planning an operation that we're going to follow them on. I can't tell you exactly what they're doing, but it's called Operation Pull Up. And it's Takima Armstrong, and she has been doing this since George Floyd, Dante Wright, and others, where they surprise people, catch them off guard, and hold them to account. And so that...
Yeah, hold him to account. Again, he comes out and says that, no, why is he getting in trouble with this? Because obviously somebody dropped a dime and called you and said, come down here and film this so you could be famous. What, you thought you was going to be the next Nick Shirley? Nah, dude, let me show you something. On your little stunt you pulled here, okay, you've got, what, over 1.6, over 1 million subscribers, and you only got, what, 361,000 views. But yet, you got over nearly 4,000, basically, insults, okay? Because you thought you was going to break, you was doing something like you was going to wind up having a breaking news moment. You and all these people, you're nothing but trash. You're straight up trash. Okay? When Baptist churches have gotten attacked, everyone, left and right, got together and condemned it. Okay, whether you want to believe it or not. I know you only see one way, but I'm just saying. And you, out of all people, you're supposed to be the marginalized one. The one that's supposed to be for freedom for everyone. Being that you're black and you're gay and you're a journalist and blah, 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 blah. All you saw for you to do this was color and an opportunity to go and disrupt people's lives and make it seem like you was doing something for the greater good. Now, the Department of Justice is on your gay black ass. Oh, and another thing. I don't know if I'm going to monetize this video anyway, so I'm going to pretty much say what the hell I want. And if you don't catch it here on YouTube, then catch it on Rumble.
That's what we're doing here, and then after we do this operation, you'll see it live. And these operations are surprise operations. Again, I can't tell you where they're going and where we're gathered right now. However, and then we're going to head over to Whipple, and we're just going to show you what's happening on the ground, not just all the chaos that you see at Whipple, but just how people are fighting back, how they're organizing, how they're strategizing, and they're doing this in large part without support from officials, right? Local officials. There are some people who want to get involved, some local officials, but they're doing this on their own. This is all grassroots. So we're going to...
Yeah, grassroots my ass. More like paid agitators. That's what it is. Paid activists. That's what it is. Okay? Always saying, oh, this is grassroots, this is organic, nobody's putting this together, yada, yada, yada. No, it's not. No, it's not, and you know it's not. Okay? But that's fine, because you're going to have your day in the sun like a real lemon. Let's see what, where's it at? Right, Department of Justice, not this one, sorry. Well, you know what, I'll play this one too. And then I'll go to what Army Dillon has to say, the charges that are going to go against him and why.
Former CNN anchor Don Lemon has been warned by the Justice Department over allegations he joined a swarm of anti-ICE protesters who burst into a Minnesota church in the middle of Sunday service and accused the pastor of working with ICE. Lemon, who has been documenting the increasingly violent protests following the shooting of Renee Nicole Good, live-streamed himself alongside demonstrators with the Racial Justice Network storming into the city's church in St. Paul, Minnesota, as they called out resident pastor David Eastwood, whom they accused of moonlighting as the acting field office director for ICE in the North Star State. David Eastwood is listed as an employee with the local field office. However, the Post could not independently confirm whether he was the same person who heads up city's church. Eastwood was not at the Sunday service. Some service disruptors chanted slogans heard at the dozens of other protests that have wreaked havoc around Minneapolis, while others specifically slandered Eastwood for supposedly misrepresenting the ideals of his faith through his support for ICE. Lemon spoke with the congregation's lead pastor, Jonathan Parnell, who said the bombardment was shameful.
I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt
a public gathering of Christians in worship. The Department of Justice is probing.
You know, it's just ridiculous. You know, he's going to come out and say just because, or they're going to go and protest, he's going to protest with them because they think there's somebody that is working with ISIS at the church. And I'm going to be, like I said, I'm going to be straight up blunt on this one. How many black pastors, how many videos do we see on YouTube, on X, on Instagram, on Twitter, you name it, whatever. How many times do we see black pastors and black congregations just basically putting down right-leaning Americans, white Americans, or what have you, and nobody goes in there and protests? Nobody. Because you better not dare. You can't do that. Right? So they're all in a frenzy, going crazy, going into this church. They want answers. They got the manpower, and they can go there, and they can basically make that woman into a martyr and chant out her name, and where's the justice, and where's this, and where's that? But yet, how come you're not all at all these daycare centers and health facility centers that the freaking Somalians have been running fraudulently and stealing billions of dollars from you same people, if you're all from Minnesota, that is. I highly doubt it. But where's your protest to those areas? Oh, you won't do that? Why not? Because they're on your side? See, you people keep showing more and more the criminally minded mentality you people have. Okay? You're not for peace and justice. You're definitely not Christians. First and foremost. You don't care about humanity. Because instead of saying, you know what, let's go find out where there's money's at, like many of the people in Chicago are doing, mind you, in the black community and the Latino community and the white community. At least they're doing it right. No, you people in Minneapolis, you people are freaking possessed by these freaking Islamists, these Somalians, these freaking Democrats, these leftists, these liberals. You people are mentally possessed by them, and you don't see the wrong that's going on. And then when somebody wants to go and say, you know what, wait a minute, this ain't working, you people get all fed up. I wonder if Nick Shirley wasn't white and did the same report, if all you people on the left would have a problem with that. I wonder if he was a black content creator, if he went out there, or a Latino content creator, and he went out there and said, you know what, this is what's going on. I wonder if you would have taken his side. The answer to that I believe is no. You wouldn't. Because they'd be pointing out the same hypocrisy, the same fraud, the same scandals. And you wouldn't like it. Because you people on the left that are going out of your ways to do all this protesting, all you're showing is that you're criminally minded. You care nothing about human life. You care nothing about humanity. You keep using those trigger words. You keep blowing those dog whistles, but you really don't care. So you proved it. Thank you, Don Lemon. You proved that you people on the left don't care about the fraud. You care more about the criminals. And you proved that you don't care about humanity or people's right to peacefully assembly, because you went into a church, a place of prayer, and you disrupted them because they were Christian. And you also proved that you're all a bunch of fucking cowards, because you won't go into all these mosques where they're harboring Islamist fucking radicals, and you won't disrupt their prayer. So you're all a bunch of freaking cowards. Okay? That's all you are. That's all you are. Let's get to the last video clip, because I like I said, I don't want to take too much time on this. Let's see what Armeen Dillon has to say. Sorry, here she goes right here. And she's going to break it down and tell everybody what's going on. Here we go.
Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights at the U.S. DOJ. Armeen, great to have you back on. This actually, the FACE Act, this could potentially be...
And this is where this is poetry in motion, like I said, people. This is the poetry in motion that rightly suits Don Lemon. Don Lemon. Okay? This is where it all comes into play, a full circle. Because you people on the left, yeah, it comes into full circle for you because you're all part of a fucking circle jerk. That's what it is.
Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights at the U.S. DOJ. Harmeet, great to have you back on. This actually, the FACE Act, this could potentially be, I think it is, a blatant violation of these people storming a church, a violation of the FACE Act.
You're absolutely correct. The Attorney General reached out to me about this yesterday when I was on an airplane, and before I landed, we'd already scrambled the jets and gotten prosecutors assigned to this, as well as reached out to the FBI and had agents assigned, and the U.S. Attorney's Office in Minneapolis assigned to this. So there are already several law enforcement officials working on this as of yesterday evening. What people need to understand about the timing of arrests is we're a little bit different than the state prosecutors, who are, I think, frankly, refusing to do their jobs at this point. I have to get federal judges to sign off on arrest warrants before I can arrest somebody. So today's a federal holiday, and if it weren't, we have, certain slow rolling of things we're doing there, but we will get there. I have seen enough video and evidence at this point to believe that what we saw and what we're seeing on the screen there is multiple violations of, at a minimum, the FACE Act, as well as other federal statutes. And so we want to bring as strong a case as we can against as many of the offenders as we can. And we are doing that with all due speed. And the Attorney General is personally checking in with me every couple of hours, and she is extremely motivated to make sure that we do justice in this case.
This would be excellent. I know I've been hard on Attorney General Bondi in the past for not arresting people. This would be a great start. The other thing is, this was used against people praying outside of abortion clinics under the last administration. So here's the thing that I run into. I know you're a 2A person, but that also comes with a great level of responsibility. Personally, if I was at church, I carry my gun virtually everywhere I go, anywhere that it's legal. If I was at church and I watched a bunch of protesters come in screaming at me, some of which may or may not have been carrying weapons, we know that people have been carrying these guns in the streets, as I was just talking about, I might be considering firing on one of them if they kicked down the doors of my church. Where would the DOJ side if someone like me was in a position like that?
Well, so first of all, it's complicated because there are state laws that apply as well. In some states, it's not legal to carry a firearm in a house of worship. I think we can debate the appropriateness of that. I'm with you. I'm a Second Amendment advocate. I'd love to be able to carry my firearms everywhere, and yet you can't. So what we have seen in the Jewish community is that because they have faced numerous threats like this, they have pretty deep security outside every major synagogue.
And this is the thing. So many people say, oh, no, you shouldn't protect yourself. You shouldn't go to church, yada, yada, yada. I'm going off topic here a little bit. And personally, unless somebody comes in storming, you have to be very careful with that. Because you can't just go and be trigger happy if somebody comes in wanting to protest. Okay? The whole thing, though, with the FACE Act is that when people were praying outside abortion clinics, Biden and his freaking demonic regime decided to arrest people for praying outside of abortion clinics. The FACE Act, and I'll do it right now so you people can see why this pertains to Don Lemon, okay? I'll put this up right here. Is the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act. Meaning that, hold on, I'm sorry, wrong part. The act was passed in direct response to the escalation of violent tactics used by anti-abortion activists that criminalized in the spring of life at Buffalo abortion clinics in April 1992, and the murder of Dr. Gunn, in March of 1993. Freedom of Access to Clinical Entrance Act. The FACE Act, or Freedom is a federal law enacted in 1994 that makes it a crime to use force, threats of force, or physical obstruction to interfere with individuals seeking reproductive health services or those providing such services. Specifically, it prohibits actions that intentionally injure, intimidate, or interfere with anyone obtaining an abortion or exercising their First Amendment rights at a place of worship. The law aims to protect access to clinics and ensure the safety of patients and healthcare providers. So this part right here, it's where it falls into place. Okay? That you cannot go and bother people in a place of worship. So it's poetry in motion, because guys like Don Lemon believe, and people on the left, you believe in abortion, and being that there was people that were anti-abortionists, going and blowing places up. They put out a law saying you cannot do that. So it was basically to protect you people on the left. But in the same law, okay, it says it prohibits actions that intentionally injure, intimidate, or interfere with anyone obtaining an abortion or exercising their First Amendment rights at a place of worship. So now we just came and bit you in the ass. This law that was put out for you lefties out there that love abortion just came and bit you in the ass. How do you like that? Poetry in motion, people. Let's get back to what she has to say.
In any blue jurisdiction to prevent exactly that kind of thing from happening. And so
there's a huge cost
we can't have this in the United States. We have to have, I'm embarrassed by that. It is a shame that in Los Angeles and in New York, people have to pay for their own security outside a house of worship when there are police stations nearby you pay taxes for. So I would have to wait and see the scenario before I could weigh in on that.
Right. Okay.
And this is where the governor of Minnesota and the mayor of Minnesota, Minneapolis, they should have had boots on the ground stopping these people from doing that, but they didn't. But yet, you have people like Nick Shirley and other content creators and people that are trying to investigate what's going on, going into these places where these Somalis are owning, okay, that they own, that they're running frauds and scams, and they're sending the freaking cops to go and bust them to stop them from uncovering the truth, but yet you had no time to send as much as one cop to this place of worship and say, you know what? You cannot do this. Leave these people alone. And this is why I say that you people on the left, you're freaking mentally possessed. Okay? And I even hate using that term. But I just don't know any other term to use for you people with what you pull. It's never ending. It's non-stop.
You know, Harmeet, the other thing too is Don Lemon, this guy, he goes into this church. He's like, I have a right to be here, blah, blah. The pastor's like, well, it's private property and I'm telling you to leave. Roll this real quick.
There's a constitution and a First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful.
You know, and he calls himself a Christian. In the same interview, you would think that instead of them going in and protesting, they would have seen people praying. They would have went in and started praying and tried to basically have a moment of unity to say, how do we come together as a community? No, they decided, these godless people that call themselves Christians, to go in there and disrupt these Christians that were out there praying. And then you heard Don Lemon say about the First Amendment. Once again, you people on the left, you turn it on its ear. Because in the First Amendment, it says to peacefully assemble. That was not peacefully. Because you disrupted people's peace, number one, and you was rowdy and loud and cursing and basically putting people on the spot. That was not peaceful. You believe in the Constitution so much, but yet you just want to turn it on its ear and say, you know what, no, this is how we do it. The right to assemble, this grants individuals the right to gather peacefully for demonstrations, protests, and other forms of collective expression. The right to petition, this allows individuals to make complaints to or seek assistance from their government without fear of punishment or reprisals. You had no right to go into that church. This is basically what it says. If you have a grievance, you take it up with your elected officials. They're all on your side in Minneapolis. But no, you decided to say, you know what? We think that somebody that goes to the church is working with ICE, an organization run by the federal government that is out there seeking rapists, murderers, drug dealers, gang members, and people that came across the border illegally. No, they're not undocumented. I mean, I'm sorry, they are undocumented, but you're trying to basically put lipstick on that pig. No, they came into the country illegally. And they're all being caught up. And in the process of them being caught up, they're also uncovering massive fraud in the billions of dollars. And it goes from Minnesota, Maine, which I'm going to do a video about, okay, to California, Chicago, Colorado, nearly every blue state, Ohio, nearly every blue state, especially in the Somali communities. Billions upon billions of dollars. As a matter of fact, Don Lemon, one more thing, and I'll try to end this, people. In Maine, okay, there were people that were killed during a mass murder, and money was supposed to be collected for the victims, the families and stuff like that of the people that were involved. And they just come to find out, people, that at nearly $1.9 million, nearly $2 million of that money was taken from that fund in Maine and allocated, okay, without anybody knowing, allocated to the Somali daycares in Minnesota. How come you're not out there investigating that in Maine, Don Lemon, since you care so much about the people? See, people, this is what I'm saying, that these Democrats, they do not give a rat's ass about human life. On the left, on the right, from another country in America, they don't care. Money that was supposed to rightly go to people in Maine, okay, to victims, no, they decided to just funnel it to give it to the forces, to the freaking pirates, the Somali pirates in Minnesota. Give them more money. This is why this whole thing, it is so big. And Don Lemon wants to say this is a grassroots movement or organic or whatever the case is, like the rest of the media is saying. No, it's not. The Democrats are trying to hide a massive money laundering scam that goes from state to state in America. And the number one group, and this is not me being racist, and if you think I'm racist, I don't care. The number one group that's in the middle of this are the Somalis, the Muslims. Okay? But you want to go disrupt Christians during church service on a Sunday and think that you're doing something for humanity. Think that you're on the right side of history, calling yourself a Christian. You know, it says in the Bible that there's going to be false prophets and all kinds of stuff, people coming in, wolves in sheep's clothing, right's going to be considered wrong, wrong's going to be considered right. There's going to be people out there pretending that they're, that they're these prophets and these people that are speaking for God and pretending that they're godly and all that. And what I see, where I see it coming from more and more is the left. More and more, it's coming from the left. And I try so hard, people, so hard not to get upset, because I know that there's good people all around us. There's good people. Okay? But I'm going to call out all this wickedness, all this evilness, and it's coming from the left. You people on the left have lost your way. You've lost the plot. Okay? And you think you're doing God's work. Prepare yourselves. We all have to prepare ourselves, because come Judgment Day, we all have to stand in front of God. All of us. And what are you going to tell God, Don Lemon? You did what you did because you was a gay black man journalist in America? Is that what you're going to say? Really? Because people like you and Jasmine Crockett and Joy Reid and the rest of them, that's what you do. You all go out there and you think that that's supposed to hold some title as if you're above everybody else because you're either black or gay or a leftist or marginalized or transgender or bisexual or whatever the hell it is you people want to talk about. You think that's all above all, and then to top it off, we're Christians. Really? I don't think so. I really don't think so. Trust me. Okay? As a matter of fact, don't even trust me. You people need to learn. You need to get your heads out of each other's asses and truly look at what's going on. But you know what? Something tells me, no, you like it up there. You don't care to. You like the destruction, the chaos. You like all that. You like being criminally minded. You like the gossip, the drama. You like all the distortion, all the division. You like all that. You like all that because it helps you get away with your dirt. Unbelievable, people. Unbelievable. I'm really pissed. But you know what? I'm going to end it here. Okay? And I know I'm always saying pray for your enemies. And you know what? I mean it. And these people, they need prayer. They truly need Jesus. They truly do. Listen, we're all sinners. I get it. We have to pray and repent every day. None of us are perfect. But I mean, these people on the left, I mean, these organizations, these news anchors, or whatever you want to call them, they just go above and beyond just psychotic. Above and beyond psychotic. Like I said, it's demonic, man. It truly is. And they need help. They truly need help. But anyway, that's what I got for you. So don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, pass the channel around. And if you can help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and my merch store. So remember, people, stay vigilant, keep praying for each other, keep praying for the women and the children, pray for this country, pray for your enemies, pray for President Trump, and don't forget to pray for all the missing children that they brought across the border. Peace.